Hi, this is David Lowry with Stress Free Property Management, and the subject of this video is how to properly deny rental applications. But before we get into it, if you could please subscribe if you haven't, because I do these kind of videos all the time, and like the video, that would be great. So let's start. You have a property that's available for rent. What you should do before you put it up on the market is to have written rental criteria that you apply to everyone. Because if you ever get accused of discrimination, the government and the federal law automatically assumes that you did discriminate, so you have to hire an attorney to prove that you didn't. So it's very expensive, so it's extremely important that you have this type of criteria and you apply it across the board. Enough said. Here's the issue that a lot of people have, where they get sucked into accepting what I call a nightmare tenant, which is someone who has something, usually more than one thing, that's really bad on their background checks, but they have some incredibly believable story about how it's not their fault, their last landlord was the devil, some family member has cancer, they just need a chance. This is the music that starts. We're all somewhat conditioned to believe people who are very sincere and have heart-wrenching stories, and this small percentage of the population, which I say is about 3%. So if I looked up online, about 36% of the people rent. So it's about 10% of the rental population are nightmare tenants. So, and they know this, and they try to manipulate you by telling these stories and giving all sorts of plausible explanations. Saying, hey, I'll do painting, I'll pay a higher deposit, anything they can to get into the home, because they know they're not going to pay the rent. They're going to end up trashing your home. It's going to be a terrible disaster. So what happens a lot of times is when you're running these rental applications and you deny someone because they don't meet the criteria, you end up calling them, and then they go through this whole scenario to convince you that you should give them a chance. So avoid that. Like the plague, deny people through text or email. I know some people will say, well, I don't want to put anything in writing because I don't want to get sued. Well, my answer to that is just be short and sweet. Say I deny people because they don't have good rental history, bad credit, they don't make enough income, they haven't been on the job long enough. So that's pretty short and sweet. I just say whatever that is, and I don't give you any further explanation. And then here's an important point. Don't get engaged if you deny people, as I suggest, through text or email, with a back and forth of why, I just need a chance. It's the same thing as if you're on the phone. You don't want to get sucked into an email conversation, because you can actually end up writing things that you shouldn't write that you can get sued for. So the long and short of it is, it's extremely important to have a written rental criteria and deny people through text or email, because you don't want to get sucked into these conversations and get convinced, because it's extremely difficult to deny these type of people when they get a chance to manipulate you and use these lies. So just avoid the whole situation entirely, and you'll be far better off. It's probably the number one skill as a landlord to learn above anything else is doing proper screening and just denying people who don't meet your criteria. Thank you.